my friends, and welcome to another episode of Watch with Ray. And what are we watching? Oh, we're watching Interview with the Vampire, guys. I mean, come on. If you've been following for the last, series, or this last, you know what we're watching. We're watching it. I've been, playing back and forth with, do I want to get too, invested? I also don't want these episodes to be, 400 minutes long. But, and also, I'm not spoiling, I don't want to spoil stuff. But at the same time, I just learned today, because I don't do research, guys. It's kidding. I sort of kind of do, but not really. Not when it comes to TV. That this is going to be, it is, I thought this was, a limited series. I thought this was going to be, a mini-series. But this is actually going to be, a series. It's already been renewed for a second season, which was not a shocker to me, because I'm they're still in the 1930s. How are they going to get up to present day? When's that going to happen? Something's just going to, it did make sense that they were going to not progress the story through the decades. It didn't make sense. So, a little bit of research I would have found out. Because what made me realize was that, this is the episode before this season finale. And I was like, hold on. Now, IMDb said there's 8 episodes. They're putting next year's as season 2, episode 1. Okay, so anyhow, I thought I might be just a little bit more descriptive in this one, just a little bit. I'm not going to go rambling. You don't need to know every nuanced moment in this episode, but I thought, because this is an absolutely gorgeous episode, writing-wise, it's beautiful. Cinematography, how they set some of these shots, gorgeous. I mean, and where they're getting to, this is one of those episodes where you're this is set up. And it's really interesting because Louis and Claudia play chess for a lot of this. And that's exactly what this felt like. This whole episode felt like a chess game. Okay. So, my friends. Okay. Episode 6, which is entitled Like Angels Put in Hell by God. Again, thanks for that. I mean, I like them. I like the titles, but okay. Interesting. I want to go back and I should look and see. This seems almost like it's broken. It's a bigger piece of something. I should look that up. Again, research. It looks like it's a bigger piece of something, it's a poem or it's something that they've broken down each. I would assume they're lines from probably the book. I'll have to ask Ween about that. Anywho, where we last left our heroes or anti-heroes, Lestat and Louis break up. Not only do they break up, but Lestat takes up Louis into the clouds and then takes off. Okay, no, I was gonna try to and literally drops him because he says, "Let go of me," and he says, I will do anything for you," and drops his ass. Oh, Bucky is here. Bucky Barnes is making an appearance. Hi, Bucky Barnes. Are you making an appearance? Hi. Do you want to say hello? Would you like to say hello? Oh, you can sort of see him. There you go. See? Bucky Barnes, come here. Bucky Barnes. There's Bucky Barnes. Bucky Sebastian Barnes, you're adorable. Now get down. Thank you. He hasn't eaten this week yet. Okay. Alright, so he drops, because I didn't go into this last time because I didn't want to spoil it. So, what happens in this episode, I will not spoil the end. I will spoil it next episode. Yay. So when we last left them, we were in the clouds, and he literally drops Louis. For one, we are surprised for a number of reasons. One is that Lestat can fly. Okay. We have a name for that. It's called the Cloud Gift. Okay. He's flying. Like, even Daniel's like, okay, whatever. Cloud gift, cool. Okay. Um, but it takes Louis weeks to mend, like weeks. I mean, I'm assuming they're talking months at some point. He says like at some point it took him weeks just to, like, he was blind in one of his eyes for 5 weeks. Like, he said, fractured. I mean, it's surprised that he was anything left of him to put together. Like, honestly, part of this was whatever movie, because as far up as they dropped him, like, as far as up as he dropped him, his head would have exploded, which would have been enough to kill him as a vampire, because it's sort of same zombie rules. Head, you rip the head, you kill the vampire. A lot of times, especially in vampire lore, you stake them, but then you also cut their head off so that they cannot, anyhow, awaken, because they don't have a fucking head. So whatever, movie. Whatever. Cloud gift. Cloud gift. Do not go to sleep on me. That's what she said, right? Yeah. So Daniel is, he's telling him this, like, yeah, he just dropped me from the sky. And Daniel's like, huh, okay. And so then he proceeds to, Louise proceeds to tell I would keep wanting to call him Daniel, like, well, and through the time that I was, like, mending, he sent gifts, and he tried to see me, he was calling all the time, and pretty much was like, and Daniel said exactly what I was thinking. Oh, he said he was sorry that first time he beat me, and then it just kept happening over and over and over again. I'm like, yeah, Lestat is a serial abuser. Like, seriously, he is an abusive husband. And Louise says, are we the sum of our worst moments? And Daniel's like, no, you've got Stockholm syndrome. No. That's different. Like, all of your bad moments does not make up the sum of who you are. Like, isn't it, I believe isn't the quote, like, we are the sum of all of our actions. So if they are bad moments, yeah, but there's also good actions, good moments in there too. So that, no. I mean, I guess there could be something to be said for that. But again, it's just Louis being, like, hard-eyed about Lestat, and which is very interesting for where this episode goes. And you're like, and I think it's possibly because Louis in 2022 has stepped back and is reviewing everything and saying, okay, well, maybe it wasn't that bad, but he was that bad, dude. He was that bad. So Lestat's been trying to send gifts, and Claudia, again, I take back every horrible thing I said about her because I love her so much. She has stepped in. She's like, I'm your sister, and this is it. Like, she stepped into the Grace role, but even more because I don't think he and Grace were ever this close. Like, because by the fact that they can fucking hear each other talk, they can speak to one another in their minds, right? I mean, sometimes no one wants to be in this lizard brain ever. I had a thought yesterday that I was like, that's gonna send me right to hell. Right to hell. It's been a day, guys. Not drinking. Tote Sam. Anyhow. So Lestat comes back, like, weeks upon weeks later, finally, like, shows up. And Claudia's like, what the fuck do you want? Because they can hear they hear somebody at the door, and they're like, fucking A, it's him again. Because they just keep, and this is something like, well, I've been calling, and I just figured that the operator transfers over the call before it actually gets to and she's like, we didn't want to talk with you. And he's like, well, I can see his silhouette in the window. I know he's here. And then all of a sudden, this is hysterical. his coffin flies out of the fucking window right onto the pavement behind Lestat. And Claudia goes, pretty much like, I think that spoke for, yep, I think we're done here. And then we have more of Lestat begging. This is, well, so this, in this part, we have more Lestat begging. Is this the silence? Oh, so he he has a new car. He gets an automobile. And I just want to say fucking kudos to Sam Reed and this accent, because like he's Australian. Like, but in a number of different times, especially in this episode, he affects different accents and does them fucking spot on. But his like Lestat's like French English accent is awesome. It's very much, it's not like, you know, like, you know, les poissons, you know, French. It's very much like what you would imagine someone who has, who's their, you know, their first language is French to sound when speaking English. And he is just amazing in this fucking, like, he's just, it's gorgeous. And he says to, like, he comes across Claudia and Lestat, he's like, look at this new car I got. Like, he's like laying on it, like, yeah! He's got like a short sleeve. I was like, at first going, is this the 50s? What is happening? Because it was very much like a gearhead, like, look at my car. But it's like Model T. No, it's more than a Model T. At this point, it's 1932, so it's not a Model T, but still, it's like still like before even 1940s cars. Like, you get that, like, it still possibly could take the top off of it, and it's, you know, and he's like, if you want me to leave you alone, Louis, I will. You just need to tell me, leave me alone and never come back. And of course, Louis like, because he's a battered wife, he can't. And he says, Lestat says to him, this silence is cruel, and you are never cruel. I'm like, that is gorgeous. Like, if you want to cut somebody, fucking say that, because that'll like go right to their heart. Like, oh, you know, this is, you are being like the opposite of your nature. Your nature is not to be like this. I've never seen you like this. Why all of a sudden with me are you this horrible bastard of a person? Like, that's not your nature. You're the vegetarian, for fuck's sake, you know? So, Lestat, you got fucking balls! Because what his grand piece de resistance is one day a record is delivered to Louis. And it's a song that Lestat has composed for Louis. Everyone's like, oh! No. Mm-mm. So, he hasn't written a song, he hasn't composed a song in 100 years. He's composed this song, it's called Come to Me. Come on me. And Louis starts listening to it, and he's like, he's getting angrier, and you're like, but it's quiet fury. And Claudia comes in, and she looks at it, and they kind of look at each other, and he literally takes the fucking record off. He finds Lestat, who is with Antoinette. I'm sorry I said Charlotte in the last one because I couldn't remember her fucking name. But Antoinette is that singer, that torch singer from like a couple episodes ago, who Lestat has been like living with at this point. Like, he be fucking her. Like, he's fucking her. And he breaks in mid-coitus. They're like fucking, you don't see anything, but they're like fucking. And he just is like, you wrote me a song and you had her sing it. Because as Louis is telling Daniel about the song, he's like, he was never, Lestat was never happy with the how the orchestra played it, or the instrumentalist played it, so he played all the instruments. But there's a female singer, and it's fucking Antoinette. So he got his current bitch to record a song for his his bottom bitch. What? So Louis like he tells Antoinette, get the fuck out. She's like, this is my home. He's like, I don't fucking care. Get your clothes on and leave. And she says to Lestat, you need, do you want me to, what are you going to do about this, Lestat? Lestat goes, leave. I was like, this is hot. And so she leaves, and they do it. You don't see anything. They just start making out. But he beats him up pretty badly too before. Like, we don't see a lot of that, but we see like him throwing him around, because when the next scene is Lestat sitting on this couch and Claudia and Louis facing him. And they're kind of like interrogating. They're putting down the ground rules. If Lestat is coming back into this little thruple that they have, the non-sexual thruple, the platonic thruple, that there were some ground rules. And the first one, that they're like to rule 6. We don't see what's before rule 6, but rule 6 is Claudia fucking stone cold just goes, you have to kill Antoinette. And Lestat's like, okay. And Louis says, no more lies. No lies. And they both know that he's never going to be able to live up to this, because he's the king of lies. Like, that's what he does. So, I forgot what Louis' first question was. I don't want to ruin that one. And hers is, who made you? Who is your maker? And then so we get the Batman Begins, Martha Wayne versus Martha Wayne and Thomas Wayne's pearls breaking and falling onto the pavement. Kidding. Origin story of Lestat. Which, again, I have to consult Ween, because I don't know if this is actually true, but it's okay if it isn't. It's fine. But I want to talk about the shot in this scene, because so he's on this like green couch, and he's facing Louis and Claudia, and the couch is like he's almost like it comes around him. So it's like there's more space on this side. And I'm describing all this because the shot is so beautifully set and placed. He's almost like dwarfed in it. Like he's it overcomes him. Like he's like it makes him look very weak and vulnerable and like small. And so what the camera does, it goes up between Claudia and Louis, and it's doing that close in on as he's telling the story. And we're just getting closer and closer to Lestat. And the more he tells the story, the more he goes into himself. Like he's pulling his limbs in at some point. And he's actually becoming smaller and smaller. And he's, again, got these fucking like bruises all over his face. He looks like you want to believe him. You want to believe this story because he's so, it's almost as if like, well, he's selling it. He's fucking selling it like nobody's business. But you want to believe that this is his story and this is what he, went through because you have so much sympathy for him in this moment. And you're like, this stone cold fuck, because it is such a contrast to how the fucking end of this episode ends, where you're like, we finally see the goddamn stone cold killer that we expect. So to have this contrast is amazing. It's such a good choice. And just played really well by Sam Reed. And the next shot is Jacob taking all of this in, eyes just welling with tears, but at the same time, you don't, like, he's so, I don't know if it's like he's upset with the story or if he's like, I want to believe this, but he's a liar. So it's beautifully shot. It's gorgeous shot. It's a gorgeous scene. We also learn at this point that they're being harassed and vandalized. Like, their house is being vandalized. There are people they've been in New Orleans too long. They've been in there too long for so many years on end, not, aging. So the people of New Orleans are kind of getting the fucking hint that these guys are like possibly something from the devil. And you know that down there, there's voodoo's a huge thing. So there's like voodoo doll laying up front of their stoop at one point. There's what to be it looks like a Bible, some sort of spell book. So yeah, yep. um, and holy shit, I have to give it to. I'm gonna look her up because I love her. We talked about her before. I think it's Bailey Bass. I think her name is, who is the Claudia character because Lestat, he does take Lestat back, so they come back into, come back in the whole fold, and he is still just they're just, well, he's a sarcastic bitch through this. Like, he is such a catty bitch. But like fucking one second, I'm trying to find it. Oh, come on. I want the series. But like he's trying to get back on Claudia's good side, but ain't happening because my girl is real smart. Bailey Bass. So they start playing chess a lot, and these chess scenes, it's verbal chess along with actual physical chess. Holy shit, the quips back and forth, the barbs, the banter, it's awesome. And she holds her goddamn own, and I love it. And what I really like about this character now is that she is living she has exhibiting all the 33 years that she's now been alive. Like, we don't see, it's such a contrast from the first episode that we see Claudia in, where she's like freaking out and running around like a child, to now where she is like, it's hard to believe that this is a 13-year-old girl. Like, it's hard to believe that because she speaks and moves and talks and holds herself and conducts herself like a 33-year-old. A 33-year-old who's seen some shit, let's see. At one point, Lestat comes in and he throws his package to Claudia, and he says, "Here's your gift." And it's Antoinette's finger. And he said, I know you liked souvenirs. So we're led to believe that he killed Antoinette. He did something. But they are just sassy. And there's this one chess scene that is like, there's a couple, but this one in particular is just gorgeous. Like, between the two of them, the verbal sparring is amazing. And again, they held their own with each other. It's amazing. I just wrote, Sassafras, the chess scene is great. Like, it is just sassy upon sassy. Well, he gets upset. He's like, I'm gonna go hunt or whatever. And he leaves. Lestat does. He goes to Antoinette. She fucking not dead. He, in fact, made her a goddamn vampire. So Claudia doesn't fucking trust him. So she follows his ass and brings Louise. So they both eavesdrop and find out that not only is Antoinette still, I can't say alive, she's not dead. She's undead. She's undead. But like, at this point, Louise kind of like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And he's like, she's like, are you gonna tell me you know? He's like, no. What difference would it make? He's still gonna lie. Again, every abused, battered woman. This is, yup. And so at some point, Claudia's like, I can't stay. She's been, over the next few scenes, she's trying to convince him to go. In fact, he and Lestat are having sex at one point, and she's in his head being like, we can go here, we can go here, we can go to Budapest, we can go to Poland, we can go to Polistari. She's naming places that they could go, and in his head, and he's just kind of like, I can't leave him. it's kind of like, this is my new normal. Like, I'm a fucking vampire. He's got the answers I need. What am I gonna go do? And we have this scene, so she does leave. She's on the train, and there's this scene. I actually wrote down the quote here because it was gorgeous. We have Daniel, or Louis, describing to Daniel. Daniel, at the same time, has been getting his IV medication for his Parkinson's. So that's part of it in the background. And kind of a little bit of talking about, like, Louis actually says to Daniel, I'll give you this gift now if you want it. And he's like, you could grow up, and he's like, you could live, see your daughters, grow up, get married. And he goes, get divorced. He goes, and then die? Nah, I'm good. Nah, I'm good. Because I guess when they met, when he was like many years ago, and they recorded the first time, Daniel wanted it. Daniel wanted the gift of vampirism. He wanted to be immortal. And Louis said, nah, we're good. So anyhow, Claudia is in the cargo, like where all the baggage train, of the baggage car of the train, I should say. And Louis is happy for her because she's leaving. She's getting to go do what he can't. And she's been reading, she's so well read at this point. She's wanting to go find place, live where there are more of their kind, as she was saying. And he says, and she's so excited because when we first see her in the car, the porter is in looking at suitcases, and he leaves and doesn't see her. So she's kind of like felt like she got away with it. And he just says, she, of all things on the earth, deserved a nice seat and a wide window to watch the countryside blur before the glass. But it was 1939, and the only Negro allowed in first class was the porter, and the Negro passenger rode the rear. The Negro vampire made do with what was left, which was fine with her. We see her excited. I mean, she's like, hey, he didn't catch me up, so here I am reading my book. I'm getting out. I'm going. No. So, whew. And I'm going to leave it there. I'm just going to stop there. Yeah. I'm going to stop there. So, all in all, my thoughts about this episode. I fucking love this episode. I did say that we did see Lestat as his stone cold killer that he is. We do see that at the very end. I mean, not to the degree that I think he's capable, but we see what he could do, emotionally to others. And I personally don't know what it is with Lestat for Louis. I really don't know. I think he finds someone every 50 years or so to do this to, and play with them like a spider, or like a cat. Because part of me is like, I don't understand what the draw is. I mean, they do have a lot of chemistry, but it seems to be when you do see them together now, especially in the series, over this first two episodes where they were doing it all the time and happy and in love, I'm not seeing the draw for either of these men in this. Like, I'm not seeing this as like a great love, because you're like, when you see them together, they're not like, it doesn't, like, you would imagine if this was his great love that he wanted to spend eternity with, like that, or like if Lestat, there would be more moments of getting caught up with that other person and caught up in their thoughts and what they, and wanting to really spend time with them. It doesn't seem like in the show that like fucking Lestat spends time with anybody except for Antoinette. I believe he's actually in love with Antoinette more than I don't think actually, I take it back. I don't think Lestat is in love with anybody. I think Lestat's in love with Lestat. But anyhow, so that's where my thinking is with this. I think it was a beautiful episode. I think there were some very gorgeous parts in here. Especially like the juxtaposition of the chess and what's happening with Claudia and Lestat. and it's gorgeous. And I think that they set it up right, and especially some of these panning shots are beautiful in this episode. The other thing that's a big moment of, here's setting your time where we're at, because we never get anything or sort of like a screenshot of like 1937. It's just usually like we get it from context clues behind us and around us. So here we're learning Germany just invaded Poland. So and now the radio has like made its presence known in these episodes. So because they're sitting around the radio, and one of my first thoughts was, this is fucking boring. Hope you like to read. Which I do, but still, fuck me. Because I didn't have really like access to libraries at that point. Cool. Anywho, so going on our rating system. Let's see, blood droplets. So blood and gore. One, I'm trying to think. There's really nothing in this one. Like, there's not even any like kills or anything. This is mostly all high drama. 2 is spooky scariness. 1, no spooks. About sex and nudity. There we see some like, we see Sam read a lot naked Starkers. I'm okay with it. I'm real okay with it. So I'm gonna say 1.5, just because there is like the implication of sex. We don't see anything like at all. I've noticed that now that I think about it. Like when I think back on the first episode, and I think it was just so like, it was jarring to see like an implied menage a trois on an episode of television. That I was like, oh, okay. But now looking back, there's not been very much sex at all. Like, and what sex there has been is very clothes on and just moaning, which is fine. Because again, I'm always one of those people that says, if it brings like, I don't mind it as long, I mean, obviously I have a romance novel podcast, so fucking no, I mean, I've read some shit, guys. I've seen some things. But as long as it furthers the plot, fine. If it's just sex to throw in there to get like, I'm looking at you, fucking Game of Thrones. If it's just sex in there to get people to watch it, what the fuck is the point? So here I think they don't really dwell on it, because there's a lot of plot to get fucking through. And so yeah, no, I'm gonna say 1.5. Fuck it, 2. Fun. I'm gonna go again. I'm gonna say 3.5 on this one, because I really like this one a lot. This is like one of crouching up on like one of my favorites of these. Yeah, I'm gonna say, actually, you know what? I'm gonna say 4 on it. I'm gonna say 4. Well, enjoy, guys. Let's see what's coming up for the podcast. We are releasing, so we'll be recording this weekend. I have a little thing to change, because we said on the podcast, and also my last episode, the wrong name of the fucking movie, because I went into start watching what I thought was the McPherson tapes, which I was like, the movie takes place about a birthday party in October. I'm like, wait, hold on, this is supposed to be a Thanksgiving movie. We are not doing McPherson tapes. We're actually doing Alien Abduction, an incident in Lake County, which you can find on YouTube for free. Some Kind Soul uploaded it, and I watched it last night, and it's delightful. It is delightfully stupid amazing. There were a couple parts where I did rewind and went, oh my god, there it is! So I will be in full force this weekend. So we record this weekend, and it'll be released on probably Tuesday. And then another watch with Ray. So yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed these a little bit. Check out the podcast. Check out our website, which is boozeboobsandbloodpodcast.com. You can always email us at boozeboobsandbloodpodcast@gmail.com. We're on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. I think it's Ween and Ray, I think. But yeah, so keep it spooky.